Welcome to Defence Connects, The Progress Report, the show spotlighting the women shaping Australia's defence and national security.
Welcome to Defence Connect's Progress Report, the podcast where we explore the stories, careers and experiences of women working across Australia's defence and national security sectors. I'm your host, Tash Taylor, and in each episode, I'm sitting down with industry professionals to talk about their journeys, personal growth, mentorship, and what it really takes to build a meaningful career in one of the country's most complex and essential industries. My guest today is the lovely Mary Pillay, Ambassador of the Australian Space Diversity Alliance. Welcome,
Hi.
Mary. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm so happy that I get to speak to another lovely member of the Australian Space Diversity Alliance. I was speaking with the lovely Sheila yesterday.
We love
I feel
Sheila.
like
She's
I'm almost,
awesome.
yeah, she is awesome. I feel like I'm basically part of the team now.
Oh, definitely. I mean, come on down. Come join us. We're always
Exactly.
looking for new members.
We love that. Look, I'd love to know today so far, what has been the standout for you? What have you enjoyed? I know that you've been walking around most of the day and looking at a few of the sessions. So what have you thought?
I think I'm obligated to say I have loved the Australian Space Diversity Alliance stand that we have.
Yes.
It's been really fun, and Dwayne is there, and he is the best person to chat to when you're doing these kinds of things. He always makes them fun. He always makes jokes. So I would have to say that, probably.
Little shout out there.
Yeah,
I
little
love
shout
it.
out.
I love it. That's great. Look, I'd love to know. So I did have a little quick sneaky stalk of your LinkedIn. And I know that you sit in the space and you're a space and robotics engineer. Now, to me, that sounds really cool. I have no idea exactly what it is that you do. So can you please give me a rundown about what it is that space and robotics engineers do, and how did you find yourself there? Is it something that you were always really passionate about pursuing? Sort of what led you to this in your career?
I think every kid has that moment where when they're little, they kind of just go, space is really cool.
Oh yeah.
And I've said that multiple times, like when I'm on a panel. That's like my one thing I always say. I always end, they always say like, what's the one thing you want to say? And I always go, space is cool.
It is cool.
Because it's true. But you, as a kid, you always have that moment. And I think I've grown up in a lot of countries, and then I came here and I did a lot of, most of my growing up here in Australia. And growing up, we didn't really have much of a space thing, or nothing that I knew of anyway. So it was just by chance that I actually got into the space industry, because I went to an industry night for students at university. So it was to go and see, like, because I was getting at the point where I needed to do an internship for my course, because you have to do one to graduate as an engineer. And so I went to an industry night, started talking to a bunch of people, and I found some companies that were space related. And so from that, we then kind of went, oh, there's a space industry in Australia, which I kind of didn't know before that point.
Yep.
I kind of knew like the space agency existed, but I didn't really realize that we had a whole environment of these startups, space startups that existed. And I just kind of got really excited.
That's brilliant.
I basically just emailed them. I started cold emailing these companies, and I was like, hey, these are the skills that I have. You know, I've done CAD work at university. I've done these little things. I will be the grunt work person for you. Can I start maybe being an intern at your company? And so from that, we kind of started developing. And then one of them was like, yeah, you know what? Let's jump on a call.
That's amazing.
And we'll see what we can do. And so did an interview with them, literally emailed them like, I think 2 days beforehand. And then later that afternoon, I booked in the call for the next day. So yeah, it was really quick turnover, which was very terrifying for, I want to say little me, but I'm still little, so that does not change anything. But for me to just go, oh, I'm now actually interviewing for an actual engineering job, and that was terrifying. But yeah, we kind of just jumped on a call. We chatted. We sort of went over like, these are the experiences I've had growing up. This is who I am. This is my personality, that kind of stuff. And then next thing I know, he's like, cool, you want to join? And I'm like, yeah. Sure, let's do it.
This sounds like the best interview process ever.
So obviously did like the test task and everything.
Yeah.
And then, I basically started working as an intern. And
What did that look like for you then?
So it was not what I expected. I'm not going to lie. So I expected, because you watch all of the movies, I mean, like Hollywood always points it as like the intern's the person that gets the coffee, right? Like they're not the ones that get to do all the fun things. They're the ones that get to watch the fun things.
Yes.
I was kind of thrown into the deep end. The
Sink or swim, yep.
Yeah, pretty much. First week of my internship, the Friday was the first conference that I had to present at.
You're kidding.
No. So basically we had an exhibit at the National Space Industry Hubs. Like they had an expo that they were doing.
Yeah.
And basically I was just at this expo. It was literally day 5 of my internship. So I started on the Monday, on Friday was the expo. And I was sitting there and I had designed these parts for the company. And I basically just had to sit there and explain it. And that was it. That was my first week of an internship. And it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say,
I'm so glad
I
for that
think
experience, to be honest.
any intern getting thrown in the deep end like that would be like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah. I was sort of like, the amount of times that I just turned to my family and like, I don't know if have I just like lied my way into something? Do they expect me to be an actual engineer? Like, I'm still a student. Do I know enough to do this?
Well, obviously they saw your potential and your absolute passion going into it. Do you think that, so you mentioned the person that hired you, sounds like, did he end up being a big mentor to you in your career?
Yeah, definitely. So he was definitely someone who helped me navigate what it is to have career objectives, sort of going, okay, what is it that you want to do in the engineering space, in the space industry specifically as well, like the space. And he sort of really helped me figure out, like, okay, you want to do project management because that's what I was really good at.
Yeah.
And sort of being able to navigate all of people. So know what people want from a design and being able to navigate what it is that like they need and what are the issues that they're having. And so I really wanted to tap into that because that's something that growing up I was always really good at. So what he was able to do was sort of go, okay, so what you actually want to do then is this product management style of stuff because that's what you actually are really good at. And he sort of started giving me little mini projects to work on and sort of going, all right, here's a little project, have fun with it, manage it, do what you want to do, see how you go. If it fails, oh well, we'll find a way to get around it, it's fine. Things fail in a startup and that's just natural, that's life. Things fail in life, that'll always happen. And so that was really helpful and he just gave me that opportunity straight up and I think he believed in me way more than I believed in myself at that point.
It's so important though to have allies like that are backing you 100% of the way and telling you, no, you can do this.
Yeah,
because I feel like especially when you're young and you sort of feel like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But to have someone go, you know, what you're doing, you're on the right track. And just keep doing it.
Yeah, I think he let me learn on my own in a way. So he wasn't necessarily over my shoulder all the time going, you can't do this, you can't do that, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Yeah.
He was sort of going, what do you think you should do? And then I would go, well, maybe this. And then he goes, okay, do that. And he wouldn't tell me, like, it was really hard to gauge if I was doing the right thing or not.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't tell me yes or no, that's a good thing to do or that's a bad thing to do, because he would let me learn from those mistakes that I would make. But he'd always be there if I did make a mistake to kind of go, all right, so you made the mistake. Do you know where you went wrong? And I'd go, yeah, I know where I went wrong now. And he'd go, okay, so how we can fix this mistake, maybe let's brainstorm ideas together. Yeah. And he never really took over from that. So he would never take that control away from me. So he always let me sort of learn and do the things. And it was always my decisions at the end of the day that were happening. But it was almost with his blessing in a way. So that was really helpful.
No, that's honestly, that's fantastic. And you did touch on just before, and I wanted to sort of loop back to it, was you said you went into the whole process being like, this is the skill set that I have.
Yeah.
What do you think the main skill set that the space industry is needing right now from young and up and coming students? What are they looking for, and what can they strive to achieve as well?
There are so many skill sets that we need. In the space industry, I mean, as you would have seen, it's pretty small in Australia.
Oh, it's niche.
It is a very niche
It is a niche industry.
So being so small, literally any skills at this point, if you have any skill, doesn't matter what it is, you will find a way to apply it in the space industry. And we need it in the space industry no matter what, because the only way that we can succeed is if we grow our workforce. And so no matter what the skill is, it'll always be there. I think a lot of the startups, they're very deep tech startups. So at the moment, they're looking at a lot of engineers and stuff like that. But the thing is, these startups are also usually, and I won't say all of them, but usually they're started by engineers. So it's not like they don't have those the engineering skill. So because they don't necessarily, like they have those engineering skills, that also means they don't necessarily have, say, like business skills. Or they might not have, say, creative art skills, maybe some digital design. Maybe, you know, they might be really good at making a product, but really bad at putting on an exhibition. So those skills are also not to be, I guess, diminished in this sense, because we still need them. You still, like, a business will always need someone to make the banners at a conference. We'll need someone to come up with the games to get people engaged at the conference.
There's
like,
so many aspects that go
many
into
things.
it. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people sometimes think, oh, it's space. Space is like really techie. It's really like that kind of high level thinking, all engineering, all like math and science. But I think a lot of people don't realize we also wouldn't be the industry we are right now without any of the people who are doing any of their artsy, creative stuff as well.
Yeah.
And that's definitely needed in the industry.
No, definitely. I think that's a huge part to play in it for sure.
Yeah.
Look, it sounds like you're an absolute expert when it comes to students specifically. And what I think I would really like to know is, how is it that you get students involved in the space industry? Because it is so niche. I mean, like you said, you stumbled across it because you were at an information evening. So how is it that you've been actively trying to get people, get students interested?
So what I've been doing recently is helping with internship programs. So internship programs, even if a company doesn't advertise that they have a proper like set up program, most of the time they're taking interns. They just don't advertise it. So if you just put on the website, the contact us page, even just email like through that and say, hey, I'd like an internship. This is the degree I'm studying. This is where I'm studying. This is the skills I have. Yeah. Do you have anything available? Literally the worst they can say is no. Like, they're not going to go like, no, never contact me again. You are not allowed to contact anyone else in the industry. Like, they're just going to say, no, we don't necessarily have anything. And because the industry is so small in Australia, they're probably going to tell you, maybe try this place instead. And other people will know other people. Like, everyone knows everyone in this industry.
Exactly.
So,
it
more
sounds
than
like
likely,
half the battle is just actually putting yourself out there and putting your name forward. And I think that can be really nerve-wracking for people.
And I think companies also, they haven't necessarily got down their internship programs themselves. So they don't necessarily know, what is it that I need to do as a company to entice interns to come to them?
Interesting. Okay.
So a lot of companies, like I said, they don't advertise that they have an actual internship program because they haven't thought about it, but they're not going to say no to having you. But that's because they just don't know where to go to advertise. And I think a lot of companies, I've had this question a lot, where people go, you've set up a really successful internship program. How did you do it? And I'm like, I just went to the societies.
Yeah.
Just go to contact the UNSW societies, the UCID societies, all of the universities. If you just go and say, you want a robotics you want the Robotics Society. And then you just go to them and you say, hey, I have an internship available. If you know anyone that wants an internship, let them contact me. Here's my email. They'll usually post it on their Discords, on their social media, all of that thing, so that they can get their students to contact you. And then that's it. That's all it takes. If you have more time for that, go to the industry nights. So go as a sponsor for an event, or even if you don't go as a sponsor, just go as someone who's attending the event that night.
Yeah.
And just walk around with some pamphlets. Walk around with some pamphlets that say, here's a QR code to email or my LinkedIn or whatever.
It's a fantastic way of doing it.
Just email me if you want an internship.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nice and simple.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people, they don't necessarily realize, oh, it's pretty simple. Just need to go to the students because they don't necessarily know where to come to you. Especially with space. People just don't know that space exists necessarily in Australia. Yeah. So a lot of students will go, oh, it'd be nice, but then I have to go to America and I have to do SpaceX and I have to do like all of these big companies, and that's just daunting for them. They don't realize actually the startups that are literally in Everleigh, like in Sydney, doorstep. Redfern, they're hiring and they will love to have you come on board. You just need to email them.
And I honestly, I completely agree with you there, because when I sort of first joined Momentum Media and I'm working on Defence Connect, but we obviously have Space Connect as one of our publications. And I was like, wow, I had no idea we even had a space sector in Australia, which is so naive on my part. But exactly, your initial thoughts is, oh, yeah, the US.
Yeah, it is, because
that's when you
realistically, you think, all right, the space race was US and Russia.
Exactly.
So you think those two, okay, there'll be space things there. Europe has some space stuff, but Australia, no, we don't have it. We do. It's actually pretty big. It's small, but it's big.
Look, I'd love to ask then, because you, again, work so closely with students, what are some misconceptions that you think students have around the space industry?
I think a lot of the students that I've talked to, when they think space, they immediately go rockets.
Okay.
So their immediate thing is like thinking of the university's rocketry teams or things like that. I don't think they necessarily go satellites. A lot, or at least in my experience, the people who I've talked to, they've always gone straight to rockets. They haven't necessarily gone to satellites, or not even just satellites, but satellite hardware.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, oh, I'm not someone who does aerospace. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So because they're thinking, I need to be able to build a rocket. But you don't, because I can't build a rocket. Lord knows I can't. Like, that's not happening. That is never going to happen. But I can build space hardware, because I can do mechanical design, I can do electronic design, so I can do robotics, which means I can do some other things. I can do robotic arms, and there is a huge thing for...
That's so cool.
It is. I never thought I'd be able to say that when I was a kid, but I love that I can say that now. But like, that's a huge thing in the space industry, and there's a few people in the Australian space industry who are doing space robotic arms, and they're doing these space hardware for satellites, or they're doing all these things. You don't have to go straight to the big things. There are smaller things as like stepping stones or anything like that. And I think that's something that students often, they don't realize that they do it, I think that because it's natural for you to go, what's the thing that's space? Oh, you launch rockets to get to the moon or whatever. But what's the thing you do on the moon?
It's the first thing you think of as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even, even from the little kids today that there was the panel with all the 80 school kids that we had at the summit here. And, you ask them, what's the first thing you think of when you say space? And they say rockets and the moon.
Yeah.
And even adults. So that's the first thing I think of as well.
That's kind of ingrained in your head as a kid.
Exactly.
Because you grow up and you think, like, when they do show all of the space movies, the big thing in the space movie is the rocket launching. And yes, I will admit that is like one of the most fun things when you launch your stuff into space, is watching it go up, because it's like the most nerve-wracking. Whatever happens. I cannot change it now because it is no longer here. But it's important that you like also accept that, that is a big part of space, but that's not everything in space. And an equally big part of space is all of the other stuff that happens around the rockets and inside the rockets.
No, I completely agree. Honestly, I'm just thinking in my head. I'm like, oh, space. Kids are absolutely obsessed with it. So are adults. But I just think instantly Buzz Lightyear. Sorry, I just got so off track in my head. I'm like,
Toy Story.
Literally, I'm like, I loved watching, the cartoon TV show that they had of it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think it is, again, it's something that everyone's really interested in because it is so, taboo. It's like, wow, like you can go into space.
Yeah, you can.
And like you said, there's a million different areas that you can actually then explore within that. What advice specifically would you give, students going into space, but then also what advice would you give women wanting to enter this industry? Would you say that there is quite a few more men in the industry than women? Do you think it's something, what advice, would you give women wanting to enter this industry?
Yeah, so definitely think that there are a lot more men. I mean, even if you just look out now at the conference, like in front of us, right now I'm seeing all men, maybe like 5 or so women like right in front of us at the moment.
Yeah.
But, so definitely there are more men, but that shouldn't scare us. Like, I know that always scares us because that scared me too when I first started.
Yeah.
But they're not going to bite your heads off, so it's okay.
No. No, they're not.
So they are very nice.
I'd say 99% are brilliant people.
Yeah.
And I think, but that's the same with women as well.
Yeah, that's true. So that shouldn't necessarily scare us, I think. And I think naturally it's instinctual that maybe we would get scared. And that's obviously something we have to make a conscious decision against. But yeah, I think my advice would be to just try. Because I think I spent in between the actual industry night and me actually sending my first email to the space companies, I think was about 3 or 4 months of me just going, but can I? Would I actually be okay with this? What's going to happen? And I was just going all of these what ifs in my head. And I basically spiraled and I was like, oh, maybe I won't be good enough. Maybe this is not what I can do. Like, I don't know if this is what I want. I don't know what to do. But as soon as I sent the email, it was like, okay, we're nervous about getting a response. But as soon as the response came back, it's like, oh,
pressure
that wasn't
lifted
that bad.
Off your chest.
Yeah, that was not that bad. So I think the first little hurdle is just literally taking that first step.
Yeah.
Just email. And I think what some companies are doing out there now, they're just going, look, we're not going to ask for CVs. We're not going to ask for all of this. Just give us your name and your email and we'll send you information about the internship. And that's so helpful because it's non-committal. It's
honestly,
just a little, oh, I can put my name and email. That's easy.
Exactly.
And then, oh, I can read through this email. That's easy. I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting. And then in that email, they lay it out really nicely. They lay it out as, this is exactly what you would be doing at this internship. And you go, I can do that. That's just some CAD work. I know how to do that. I did a course in that. Or that's just a little bit of mechanical work. I know how to do that. That's fine. All of this stuff. And it's perfectly fine, like, to be scared about it at first. But I think it's also on the industry to kind of go, space needs to be a little bit for everybody here. Let's not make it overly complicated. And let's not try and scare people. Let's not be elitist in that sense. Let's actually just be as transparent as possible and go, okay, here's all the information. Have fun.
Exactly.
It's now, if you want to do something with it, that's okay.
I think, your worst enemy sometimes is yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. And you have that imposter syndrome, and both men and women,
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're diving into something you feel like you're in over your head and you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
But definitely, I feel like at the end of the day, the devil on your shoulder is usually you.
Yeah.
Telling
usually.
yourself you can't do it when it's absolutely not the case.
Yeah, I think you got to surround yourself with people who almost believe in you a little bit more than you believe in yourself. Like, find your cheerleaders, because I think that's really the easiest way to get over those hurdles of, ooh, can I do this? I don't know. Because I think, for me, my cheerleading team are my parents and my partner. And
beautiful.
no matter how many times I will go, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm really nervous. I don't think this is going to be great. Even with this podcast, like literally my partner, I came onto this, I'm like, but I'm just me. Like, I don't know, like, do I have anything that I can share? And he's like, just talk, just go up there and talk, just do it. You'll be fine.
You know, it's so funny to me that, you know, you're one of the first I've had on the show, and I think every single woman so far has been like, oh, I don't know if I was really nervous to say yes. This isn't something I really do. I don't know really why I'd want to talk to me. And I'm like, oh my God, you should have heard me. I was like, should I even start a podcast? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why anyone would listen to this.
I think as well, people just forget, like, if you're thinking that, other people are thinking it too, like, about themselves.
So
like, if I'm
normal.
here thinking, oh, should I be doing this podcast? I don't know. I'm sure the person before me thought the same thing.
Literally everyone's the same. It's about just trying something new, you know, and also sharing how else is anyone else going to progress and learn if they don't get to hear about your own identity, your career progression, and your story.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be other women that can completely identify with what you're saying. And not just women. There's always going to be someone else in the room that can relate to your experience. And that's going to affect them positively. They're going to take that home and they're going to go, you know what? I can do it. There's going to be students out there that are going to go, you know what? I'm going to send that email.
Yeah.
I'm going to send that email. I'm going to get that internship.
Yeah.
You know?
And the best part about it being an email, I think it's also because it's a little bit, when it's in person, you have the sense of there's a person in front of me.
Yeah.
This is it sounds so weird.
You're
but like,
so right.
But it's like, oh my God, the what ifs are going through my head, and what if I
Yeah.
see them go, ugh. If it's an email, you get to make up whatever happens.
Yeah.
You get to go, what if they go, oh my God, this person's amazing. Like, oh my God, yes, this is amazing. I want this. Like, you know what? You don't get to see that. And I think that's what makes those blind applications a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just you going through and being like, what if they say yes?
Look, I'd love to know, before we have to wrap up, is what advice do you have for, I was going to say male mentors, but honestly any mentors, male or female mentors, in how they can support the greater diversity and inclusion within the space sector as well? Just looping back to, obviously, you're part of the amazing Australian Space Diversity Alliance.
Yeah.
I thought that would be a great to get your view on that.
Yeah. So what I think was really helpful for me is all of my mentors, I think they just kind of believed in me, really. That's what they did. That's what makes a great mentor.
Yeah.
I've had a few. And they've always been the ones to go, while I'm sitting there going, oh, I don't know if I can do this. They've been just like, you can do that because I know, I've seen it.
You're a champion.
They're being champions, and they're not trying to hide what I'm doing, and they're not trying to diminish it in any way. They're just going, here, go do it. Get out the door. Go. Shoo.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing that a mentor can do is literally just not necessarily take control and make them do things, but make it available to them.
Yeah.
So like I said in the beginning, when my mentors, like my first job, he sort of said, okay, here's something that you can do. And I mean, like, if it fails, it's fine. It's not like, it may not have been something necessary that we needed to do anyway.
Yeah.
Because we were very much on parallel developments and things like that. So what we ended up doing was, okay, I take one of them and he takes the other, because all chances both of them are going to succeed anyway. And so you just give them a chance. So I think the mentors, the best things that they can do is literally just give them a chance.
Yeah.
Let them take control of the situation and just be there to support them. You don't need to be the one actively doing things. You can just be in the background. And that's been the best thing, because I get to learn from my own mistakes. I get to learn from my own successes as well, because when I do succeed, I'm not sitting there going, oh, but did I really succeed? Because he kind of did most of it and I just was the name on it.
Completely
no,
understand that.
Actually, I succeeded because I did it. I was the one doing it, and he just made it available for me to do. And so, I think that's probably the best thing that a mentor can do.
Yeah, beautiful balance between, like, you know, challenging someone so that they can achieve it themselves, but also being their support system.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, I like to finish every podcast episode with just one quick question. And that's based on everything we've chatted about today. What is one piece of advice you want to leave with our listeners? So that's everyone from, students to anyone in the industry.
Oh.
What is one beautiful piece of advice you'd like to leave with our lovely listeners?
I think the one thing I can advise is if you're a student, go out and just message or email some sort of company to become an intern. Internships are great. When you're an intern, you don't have to stay at the company. That's something that you guys need to remember. So if for some reason you go, oh, this is not for me, I don't like it, it's okay. You can leave. And that's true for any job as well. You can always leave. You can always get out of the situation that you're in. So if for whatever reason you need to, do that. But that would be my one thing for students is literally just go and have a go. Go and email or LinkedIn message or text if you know them by personally, whatever it might be. Go and contact them and just say, these are the skills I've got. List everything. Literally everything. Like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. I can do CAD work. I can do Canva, everything.
Yeah.
I can talk to people. That is surprisingly.
And honestly, that's a big one.
Yeah, that is a big one. Surprisingly not
Communication.
common. List everything in an email and say, this is what I can do. How can I be involved in your company? Usually they'll come back. They'll say, these are the roles we've got, or sorry, we don't really have any roles at the moment. Yep. Maybe try again. We'll keep your information. And go and do it to a bunch of companies. Go to an industry night. Get the addresses of every single company there and email it to everyone. Put it on blind CC. But then just have a go at it. See what happens. And so that would be my advice to students. My advice to the industry companies out there, open your doors to these interns. Yes, they're students. Yes, they might not be fully qualified. That's not necessarily a bad thing. They all have their own life experience. We've all lived, therefore we have life experience. It doesn't matter if you're 18 and you haven't had as much as a 50-year-old, say, but that doesn't matter. You've got life experience. You've got your own set of skills, and no two-person skills are going to be exactly the same. You're always going to be different. So invite them in. Even if it doesn't cost you anything to just try. Let them try.
Yeah.
And see what happens. They might surprise you.
Exactly. World's full of surprises.
Yeah.
Look, thank you so much, Mary. Honestly, your insights have been so valuable.
Thank you so much for having me as well.
That's all right. And look, for everyone at home, thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Progress Report. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with more incredible stories from amazing voices. Thanks.